Welcome to All Out in the Open. We are so glad you're here and super excited because this week we have an open up episode with a special guest.
His name is Justin Telthorst, which I had to practice to say because he has a weird last name like me. And he's a gay Catholic. And I have been following him for a bit online. He has an Instagram page called Empty Chairs Home.
Right.
That's the handle. And when he talks, I hear him talk about being a gay Catholic. Honestly, if you just change the word Catholic for Larry Saint in almost all of his posts, like it would be the same. And I've just felt such a connection to his stories, and it just helped me see like we're going through the same thing.
Yeah, y'all, when I tell you this is fascinating, this is not one you want to miss. It was so fun. We could have gone for hours, and we probably will because he flew out and he's going to be here for a couple days, and it's fun. I'm like, wow, there's someone else doing the same thing in the same / different space, and yeah, you just love it. Listen, you're going to love it.
I even heard him say that the Catholic Church is true. I was like, oh, that's what we say.
I missed that.
It was in the car ride down.
Enjoy.
All right. Justin, we're so thrilled to have you today.
So good to be here. Thank you.
Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. How much is like a little? Do you want like...
Give us like 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe 3.
Maybe, okay.
90 seconds.
I'll start the timer then.
3 minutes.
Okay. So I'm originally from Illinois. I'm Catholic. Interestingly, I did spend some time with a couple Mormon missionaries at the University of Illinois, which is where I went to college, which was fun.
Did they convert you?
They didn't.
Did you convert them?
Nope. Nobody won.
Bible bashing? Did it happen?
Only a little bit. I think we were pretty nice.
Okay.
Like, I think everybody played nicely. We enjoyed getting to know each other. Like, great people.
That's cool.
But yeah, grew up in a small town in Illinois. Wonderful place to grow up. Ran across country. Went to the University of Illinois and switched majors, I think 3 times before I landed on philosophy because I was going to be a Catholic priest. We tried that route. Didn't quite work out. But then I graduated college and worked as a Catholic missionary for 5 years.
What does that mean?
So, so Catholics don't have any sort of mandated missionary work, but there are several organizations that have kind of popped up, especially in the last like 20 years, that kind of give Catholics the option to go on mission. So this was specifically to college students. At the time, it was just in the United States, but since they've kind of expanded to other college campuses, specifically over in Europe. So I was at the University of Wisconsin in Madison for a year, and then actually West Point, New York at the Military Academy for 2 years. And then, great experiences. Obviously, its own journey, being closeted at the time.
Yeah.
And then worked at headquarters for that nonprofit focus, where I helped coordinate short-term international mission trips that were more service-based, less evangelization-based, before coming out. And
how long ago did you come out?
I can never remember exactly. It was around 2018, 2019 when I started coming out. It was a very slow process, so there wasn't there's no coming out post. It wasn't a huge moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you mentioned you were going to be a priest.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear a bit about that journey.
Yeah. So I actually discerned going to seminary, like being a Catholic priest 3 times, and didn't go any of the times. So we got really close, but never made it. So the first time was actually my sophomore year of college, or freshman and sophomore year of college. And I was actually looking at because with Catholics, it's very location based. So for each of the dioceses, we just typically like part of a state, or like for Wyoming, it's the whole state. And you will go to seminary for that particular diocese. So kind of once you take your pick, like you're there, you're locked in for the rest of your life. So I was looking at Illinois because like that's where I'm from. And I was really nervous because I wasn't really out at the time. I like knew that I was gay, but I wouldn't have used those words. And so I wanted to be really upfront with the vocations director, the priest who kind of helped decide if you were going to get in or not. And just say, hey, like, just so you know, like I'm attracted to men, like I haven't done anything, but just want to be upfront about all this. And he like never talked about it.
What was that like for you in that moment?
It was, I had come out to a couple people at that point, but I think that I was really concerned of whether they were going to let me in or not.
Yeah.
Like I had to go through a whole psychological evaluation, which was standard for going into seminary, but I was kind of expecting to be sat down and to have this huge long conversation and for people to kind of interrogate me. And like I was ready for everything. Like I had to, one of the big things was a spiritual autobiography, and I did 20 pages, and it was like everything that had happened in my life up until that point. And so I just like got an acceptance letter in the mail one day at the end of June saying, "Yep, you're going to seminary." And I was like, "No concerns. Like we don't want to talk through anything." So,
like, did you not hear what I
right,
said?
right, yeah,
And so when you told him, you thought that maybe you were just out.
yeah, or like, would I have to go to counseling? You know, was there going to have to be a big discussion, something like that? But it was just nothing.
So you were anticipating being viewed as a problem. Did you view yourself or that aspect of who you are as a problem at the time?
Yes and no.
Like, what did that look like growing up?
Yeah. So I grew up in a very Catholic family. Like my dad led a youth group. Like my mom taught theology at my high school. So just very, like, I knew church teaching, went to Catholic high school and everything. So I wouldn't say I necessarily had a sheltered life, but I also didn't know anybody who was, you know, queer and out until I was a senior in high school. And that's more, I was like, oh, I found that out about them. Like, no, my whole, for forever at that point. So I knew about homosexuality, but I just knew it was wrong. But I also, because it wasn't talked about very much, and because it was just talked about as well, this is just a sin like everybody else's sin. I was like, oh, well, this is part of me, but I don't need to share this with anybody. You know, why would I come out to my parents? I definitely felt different, and I felt isolated in that. Like, I remember specifically my senior year of high school, just feeling so overwhelmed with where am I going to go to college and school. And my second semester senior year of high school was not easy. I was taking all the crazy classes and like just feeling so overwhelmed with that. And like, am I gay? Like, what does this mean? And wanting to come out to my parents, but just, it didn't seem right. I didn't want to burden them with it. Mm-hmm. So I didn't. And then I ended up kind of, my freshman year of college, stumbled across some videos, not the fun kind, on, like conversion therapy essentially. And I was like, this is my ticket out. Like, cool. I can fix this. I can overcome it. And so that was like my gateway drug.
What year was this?
This was 2014. Yeah.
We were watching the same videos.
I know, right? Dr. Nicolosi from Focus on the Family.
Sucks.
Yeah. And so that kind of like solidified it of, cool, if I pray enough, if I really work on this, if I have good male friendships, you know, I like repair my relationship with men, then we're going to be fine and I'll be straight and it'll be wonderful. So I would come out to people, but it would always be like on a retreat, on a mission trip, you know, nothing long-term. You know, there was,
because you knew that they wouldn't be in your life for very long.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And I think there was just that fear of, how are people going to respond? Am I going to make them uncomfortable? And at least in the circles that I moved in, it was this, well, you shouldn't be close to women because, you know, you don't want to lead them on. And if you're, you know, kind of close male friendships between men and women aren't, you know, super kosher. And then there was also this fear of like, well, I need to be friends with men. I need to, you know, develop those healthy male friendships. And so I don't want to make them uncomfortable. I don't want to make this a bigger deal than it actually is. And so I'm just not going to share it because if I just ignore it and just focus on the friendship, then this will all go away.
It sounds really lonely, like a lot of it in your head.
Yes. Yeah. A ton of just kind of micromanaging. What am I saying? How am I interacting? Like, what am I saying to people?
Yeah, relate to that a lot.
Yeah. Not fun.
Like,
Yeah.
10 out of 10 do not recommend this.
Yeah. So the people on the mission trips that you did come out to, how did they respond?
I'm thinking of like one was, I was in Jamaica and it was a men's mission trip, right? So like, and I'm going back and forth of, do I share this? Do I not? And I was like, I think that, and I think there's some reality too. Like, I felt like Jesus was inviting me to share this. And I remember up until that point, because everybody was sharing kind of their story, you know, however much of their story they wanted to share each night, we'd have a couple people. And it was like going up until that point, I was nervous about how am I presenting? How am I interacting with these guys? And then there was, you know, kind of the relief of sharing, this is who I am. This is my experience. You know, I'm attracted to men, but, you know, I get to choose how I act on them. And then there was the moments after of then like second guessing that decision of like, well, are they uncomfortable? Because it was a group setting and there wasn't a ton of time to really process one-on-one with people. And you know, the guys were really nice. And I do remember like one conversation in particular where a guy like pulled me aside and just like kind of wanted to talk more about it. That was really good. So most of the time people reacted really well. which was good. But I honestly think because I felt I needed to kind of come out and say, hey, I experienced same-sex attractions, and then immediately work to put people at ease but I'm working on it. Like, I'm overcoming them. Like, this is just a struggle that I had. Then there was like this extra pressure on me that I need to make sure I'm coming across as straight or straight passing or, so that I kind of live up to the story that I'm telling people.
It kind of sounds like you felt like you had to prove your worthiness in a way.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever like thought about it quite like that, but, And I don't know. It's really hard for me to go back and think through like what was my perception of gay people at that time, and kind of what stereotypes was I trying to consciously or subconsciously, push back against. But yeah, there's this huge desire to just feel normal and to be seen as normal, and to, I guess, in a sense, like justify that I was like, yeah, good enough to be in male spaces, and I wasn't gonna, I don't know, come on to a guy or I don't know what.
Be inappropriate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's this term that we talk about in therapy called minority stress, which is the stress of like, I'm a minority, so I then have to like prove that I'm good enough. So I have to be like extra good, so there's nothing anyone could ever say to criticize me. Is that something that you experienced? Like, do you just, like this sense of I have to be perfect?
Yeah. Like I remember when I was coming out, I think I noticed it the most in my coming out process, because then it became, well, like what do I enjoy? Like how do I want to live my life? Like I've said this a couple times. I'm like, do I even like flannel shirts? Like, am I just wearing this because it comes across as more masculine? Do I actually like it? But I think that, I think it was always this sense of feeling othered, like always this sense of like, I don't quite fit in. I always have to be carefully curating what I'm saying, when I'm around other people.
What sort of things did you hear about gay people growing up, like at church in your community?
I know in like the stuff that I was reading, it was very much, you didn't have a great, you didn't have close male friendships. Maybe you had a bad relationship with your dad. I didn't hear it a lot, but there was kind of this idea of like, well, were they abused? Like, was something going on there?
Is there like a root for this? Is there like is there like research? Because that's exactly the same as what we were hearing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
where did this come from?
We could probably find where it started, but this was like the mainstream psychology in like the 60s and 70s.
Right.
I mean, Dr. Joseph Nicolosi, he was like the face of conversion therapy, at least for, like he had some involvement with Catholics. I know he was involved with like Focus on the Family. I mean, he was the guy that I stumbled across, that was like the one putting out this literature. I mean, even there's a Catholic priest who did a lot of work with gay guys, and he perpetuated all of this too, of just this idea of poor relationships, like poor this like, oh, you must not, if you're gay, then you must have poor self-esteem.
How did you get through that?
He wore flannel shirts.
I did.
No, but like how did you get to the point where you didn't associate that with yourself anymore? That makes sense. Like, actually, no, this isn't because I have poor self-esteem. I have poor self-esteem because of this.
I think that was it. I was like going to therapy. I didn't really go to therapy until after I came out. And I think it was a really slow process of untangling all of that and realizing, and it's been kind of hard because I've said like, oh, I didn't feel like I had friends until I came out. And like having to go back to some of my friends and be like, no, I was friends with you. Like we were friends. Like there was just, I know that I wasn't as close to you as I wanted to be. I felt like I couldn't share the way I wanted to, on so many levels because I was so afraid of, everything. And so I think it was recognizing that all of these things, whether it was like my anxiety, the fact that I didn't really have great male friendships, I was like, oh, actually I just didn't click with that group of guys, and that's fine. And like there's other groups of guys now that I don't click with. So it was a lot of recognizing that those things that were going on in my life were completely separate from the fact that I was gay. And I think what really started it though was one of the first gay guys that I talked to who was out, who was Catholic, who was actually loving his life, who kind of started to break down all those stereotypes. And I was like, oh, maybe he's got male friends. Like he's got a good relationship with his dad. He doesn't hate himself. and he happens to date guys. Like what's going on here? And so I think that was kind of when, it was like the looking behind the curtain of realizing maybe all of the stuff that I've been told didn't match up as perfectly as I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because as you were talking, I was thinking about my experience when I was at BYU in the closet at 23. And I would go to the BYU library and pull out all these books and like what makes people gay and how to fix it. And I was like, I have a great relationship with my father. I wasn't abused, like all these things that like didn't fit. And then I went to therapy to change my orientation. And the therapist told me the same things. Like, no, that's not what happened. And that was kind of the beginning of me thinking, well, maybe this isn't a problem to be fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, it still took years to, fully untangle that, but that was kind of the beginning. And Charlie, it's interesting that you were talking about you guys were watching the same videos. And it's interesting because, as Latter-day Saints, I think we just kind of like imported the same language and lingo.
I think a lot of religions did about this.
Yeah, because like we didn't come up with the term same-sex attraction.
Right. But that's like predominantly like growing up, it was the only way it was ever presented, because it was like I identified as I struggle with feelings of same-sex attraction, because then it's not part of me. It's something I can overcome. It's something that through the atonement of Christ, I can change, be renewed, and like restored to my straight self, which sounds so weird to say now. Like it just feels so not even right. But like the thought of saying I'm gay was like giving up. It's like giving into sin, giving into lust. And was that the same for you?
Oh yeah. Like in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, which is like it's almost like a summary of all of Catholic theology that's like 1,000 pages long, but it just kind of goes through all the big topics. And of course there's one on homosexuality in there. And it says that not the people are distracted. It does make the distinction that the attractions are disordered. And I remember like reading that and thinking, oh, well, if something's disordered, then I can reorder it. And that was like my cool. We got to get it right. So realizing that, like, because for me, it wasn't a whole question of like, what do the scriptures say? Even before I came out, it was very much, these are what church documents say. There's a lot of talk about psychology in it. And so for me, I spent nights like reading through documents from the APA, from the American Psychological Association, of, what the studies on conversion therapy and, what the impact of same-sex parents on kids and their outcomes, like the huge, sexual orientation change efforts, like not the summary, like the full thing. That's what I was reading at night, just because I needed to get to the root of what was going on here. So once I had to come to terms with the fact that I couldn't change this, it was honestly like this question of redemption that came up. It was like, what is redeemable? What does redemption look like in my life then? If I can't change this, if God's not going to change this, because, I think God likes to typically work through normal means, not just miracles on everybody. Like, what did it mean for me to have this? And for it to, like, the fundamental way that I, was drawn to give and receive love was disordered and like incapable of repair.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
The thought that I was having as you were talking was, all of us, we're gay. We spent years thinking like, I'm disordered, I'm broken, there's a way to fix this. And if we're the ones thinking that, like, I just, it gives me kind of like grace for the people who aren't LGBTQ who are viewing us. And if we're so steeped in this, they also have a lot to grow and learn from as well.
So in our church, there's like a huge emphasis on marriage and family. And there's also, there's even like there's like a life path. Like you get blessed as a baby, and then you get baptized when you're 8, and then you go to seminary, and then you graduate seminary, you go on a mission, you come home from mission, you get married in the temple, and then you have kids. And then your kids do the exact same thing. And that's like super focused there. And one of the hard things about like realizing I was attracted to guys as a younger person, I was like, I'm not going to have that life. Like I'm going to fight for it. But it just felt like I was like born outside the snow globe of everybody else being happy and like having this path. I'm curious, like what, if that feels similar to you. Is there like a prescribed life path? Is there and I also feel like our culture, like our church is pretty small. And so it's like really tight. Like it feels more culturally homogenous maybe, but I'm not sure because I'm not Catholic. Talk to that.
Yeah.
Take a bite wherever you want.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of, because I grew up in like a Catholic, almost like a Catholic subculture. Because there's like,
Can I pause you?
Yes.
Just for listeners who don't know, could you kind of like give the basic structure of the Catholic?
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
what is it? What are the
Yeah.
terms you're using?
Okay, so there's like the Pope, right, the Vatican,
Right.
and then
I was there last week. It's beautiful.
oh, all right. So jealous. I've never gone there.
Did you meet Pope Leo?
No, but
Dang it.
I did see the Baldacchino altarpiece and the Pietà.
Because they just refinished it, didn't they?
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Oh my god, I'm so jealous.
It is like, it's like stupid big.
Yeah.
That you walk in and it's just like, how is this a real place?
Yeah. Yes.
It's amazing though.
All those indulgences
And-
paid off.
I know, right? And Bernini's square is so pretty.
I get like anyway. Some indulgence money did pay for the Vatican in part, a small part, but in part anyway.
Carry on.
Sorry.
So the Vatican.
Yes, anyway, yeah. So we got the Pope and the Vatican, and then for simplicity's sake, we've got cardinals and bishops who are kind of the same level, and they're below the Pope. And typically, a bishop or a cardinal is going to be in charge of the diocese, which is the geographic area.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's the Denver diocese, which is the northern half of Colorado.
So that'd be like an area.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then,
Do you want to translate it?
yeah. Do we need a translation?
We got the prophet, then we got the 70s.
And then under each bishop, or there's like in the Denver diocese, there's actually 2 bishops to kind of oversee the area.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just the local parish, and there's not really
Who's the leader of a local parish?
a priest.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So there's not
So
really.
a priest is a bishop.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop is a stake president,
Uh-huh.
and a cardinal is an area authority.
Yeah. I mean, they're close.
Obviously, it's
yeah.
not the same.
Yeah. So, sometimes you'll have like some relationships between parishes, but I'd say they're pretty independent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's interesting. That's different because we have like a full curriculum.
Mhm.
Like any church you go to anywhere in the world, like you'll have the same lesson on the same day in a different
Oh, yes.
spot. Is it the same way?
We do have a set lectionary, like a set liturgical calendar.
Okay.
So all the liturgies are going to be the same. There's like optional ones that you can throw in,
And that
especially on
comes
weekdays.
from the Vatican.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but the local culture is pretty parish dependent. Well, it's firstly parish dependent, and then depending on how involved the bishop is, they may or may not have a lot of involvement at the local level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
very helpful.
You're welcome.
So you were in a Catholic subculture, you said?
Oh yes, So I was like, I know we tangent. Where did we come from? So it was like fairly conservative. I'd say a very similar life path of you should, although it is different. Sorry, I'm like trying to think through things, but this general idea of you need to go to college and find a spouse, get married, and have kids, and you really should get married sooner rather than later. But
It's dangerous if you
I
don't.
know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And but there's like a little bit of flexibility in that, but because there's a lot of like reversions or people like really getting back into their faith in the United States within the past 20 years, it's then becoming, okay, so now we're going to be the good Catholic family and we're going to send our kids to Catholic schools and they should go to like a good Catholic university, or if not, then one with a really good Catholic center on their college campus. And then, yeah, same thing. Lots of people are going to be priests or religious, like they're, your monks or your nuns. And then the ones who don't, then they should get married, have kids, and repeat.
You mentioned that you ran cross country, and I think
I
that's
did.
just kind of funny because I ran cross country as well, and there was a Catholic school in the area,
Yeah.
Springfield Catholic. They were
Okay.
so good at cross country always. And it was
Okay.
always like, if you can beat one of their runners, then you're good enough.
I think they must have been in because you're from Missouri. I was like, Springfield, Illinois. I don't know. Didn't race against Springfield, Illinois either, but we were not good. We had fun. That was about it. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go back to... Let's talk about cross country. That's fascinating.
That's it. Your focus.
You were talking about wanting to be a priest and going to
Mhm.
seminary.
Yeah.
And, priests in Catholicism are not married.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious if your orientation led to like how that influenced your choice to go
Mhm.
down that path of being a priest.
Yeah, it definitely influenced it. I know for a lot of gay men that kind of the priesthood is seen as the only option. Although it's really interesting because I think everybody knows, or at least has a suspicion of a gay priest, but like it is from the Vatican saying, hey, if you experience same-sex attractions, you can't be a priest.
Oh, there's an actual
There's
stated
an
rule?
actual statement that says that. Pope Francis did kind of tweak that and allowed to be more permissible. But that is kind of case by case basis, where the diocese can kind of make a decision of how. I don't even know like the words to put into it, because when I was going through one of my times applying to seminary, it's so vague and so just at the discretion of the local diocese. That like I know
leadership roulette,
right?
We keep looking at each other like, yep.
And like I know guys who are gay that just got into seminary, no problem. And then the second time I tried to go to seminary, they said, "Oh, you need to go to counseling first." And I was like, "What do you want me to do? I haven't dated, I haven't hooked up, like I've done nothing. Like what do I need to do in counseling to fix it?" And he quoted me back this passage from the document that says that gay men don't know how to relate properly to men and women. It's kind of like the line that he pulled out there.
Oh.
And so that's kind of, again, that idea. So but again, I've got people that I know that have been to seminary and, you know, are priests now, and they're gay. They would say that they still have same-sex attractions. So it's, it definitely was, as I discerned 3 times, the third time in particular.
What does discern mean?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Catholic terms. Please call me out. So just like praying to try to see like where do I hear God's voice?
Cool.
Where do I feel like God's leading me? Yeah. So especially the third time.
Personal revelation.
For sure.
Really? I meant to look up more terms here. So like, how do I code switch?
Like a glossary.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. My boyfriend called me out on the last podcast. I was like, "Justin, you're really Catholic. You need to translate."
Catholic, though. Be as Catholic as you want.
There we go.
Don't tamper yourself down for anyone.
Okay. But yeah, like I came to this realization that so much of what was drawing me to want to be a priest is like, well, when you're in like, okay, if I can't be in a relationship, well, then at least I can have community. Mm-hmm. And so like, well, in seminary, like I can be around a bunch of guys, and I really don't mean that in any sort of sexual way, but just hey, I can have a lot of male friends,
right.
And like this can be cool, and we can hang out. And then, you know, as a priest, kind of depending on where you're a priest, there's like a sense of fraternity there. And once I uncovered that, I was like, oh, it wasn't so much the priesthood that was drawing me. It was like that desire for belonging and community. And I think some of it of like, well, it's a way I could go through life without having to justify anything and explain myself all the time.
I wonder what that would be like.
Well, so
because on our side, like you can't be a church leader if you're not married in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Like anything like bishop and above, you have to be married in the temple, right?
Uh-huh.
And so like, what would it have been like for you, Ben? Because I know like you wanted to be an MTC teacher, but you couldn't be.
Well, I was an MTC teacher. I couldn't be a seminary
you couldn't
teacher.
be a seminary teacher because you were single.
Uh-huh.
So there's kind of like an opposite that way, where if you're not married, it's kind of like dead end.
Yeah. And I remember like my dream was to be a seminary teacher, which is like teaching religion classes to high school students. And we have to be married to do that. And I was like, I'm never going to get married, so I can't do that. And so I was like, I need to, my dream is dead, you know? And I remember actually like writing in my journal, the best I can get out of life is a B. I can't get an A because I can't get what I actually want.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But I remember when I was in my 30s, I used to grade Spanish AP tests in Cincinnati, and we would work on Sundays. And so I would miss church. So I'd go to mass in the evening. I was like, well, I still want to go to church. Yeah. I had this like profound moment of like feeling a connection to the priest, because I was like, this person chose to be single for his religious convictions. Like I am doing that too. Mm-hmm. And I'd never had a church leader that I could like look up to who would like chosen singleness like I was choosing singleness. And that was really powerful for me. Also, the building was much more beautiful.
That's fair.
For sure. Those indulgences.
You guys do architecture way better.
We do.
That would be so fascinating to have an option, you know?
And
you would totally be a priest, and I probably would too.
I mean, truthfully, like with the thousands
you basically are.
I mean, like the thousands of gay Latter Saints I know, like they would have
be priests.
Yeah, everyone would have like, not everyone, but a lot of people would have stayed. They would have like spent their life serving, and yeah, I'm not saying that would have been like a better option, but that's the option we would have chosen.
Are monks what's my question? Is it like the same standard of living as a priest, but they just don't have the same administrative power?
Yeah, that's the really, because it's so it can be as complicated as you want it to be, but the short answer is yes. Where they're going to be, if you're part of a religious community like a monk or a nun, you're gonna still be the vow to celibacy. Although they also have vows to celibacy. They have poverty and obedience. So I do
that already.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So priests at your local Catholic church, they technically only take a vow of chastity, and then they make promises of poverty and obedience.
But it's not a vow. What's the difference between a promise and a vow?
Kind of how serious it is.
Okay.
So versus
It's like I get it. You're
so like
it's like a temple covenant versus a baptismal covenant. Got
this
it.
is so fun. This is fun as someone who like has a little bit of knowledge, but like
I'm so excited
to,
to
like,
like
maybe get
talk
the
throughout
reference.
the weekend.
Yeah, this could be great. Yeah, so like if you're a monk or a nun, you're going to intentionally be living in community. You're like really not going to own anything.
Yeah.
Again, but that's also going to be dependent on which religious order you're part of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Shall we move on to a different topic?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm having a lot of fun.
This is very fun. I'm curious what it was like for you when you like started coming out more publicly.
Like what kind of support or resistance did you get from your church community?
Yeah. So it was weird when I was coming out because I was very involved with this Catholic nonprofit I was working at, and I didn't have a huge connection to a local Catholic church because so much of like my friendship and community was this nonprofit. And then when I started coming out, I was like, I need a space where I can just show up and, be myself and start to figure out how do I want to come out? Do I want to date? Do I not? So I joined a non-denominational church that was affirming. And so I would like sneak out of my house on Sunday mornings, and I'd go to mass first or like the non-denominational. So I'd go to church twice on Sunday mornings, once as a Catholic and, the other time as a non-denominational Christian. And
That's so endearing.
but I was terrified of like, oh my gosh, is somebody be driving past, Denver Community Church and see me walking in like, Justin, why are you there? So that kind of became my safe haven of a place where I can go to. They knew I was in the process of coming out, but I could just show up and be me. So that was like kind of home base. And then I went really slowly. So I first came out to my parents, and then I started coming out to friends, and coworkers, and then siblings. And so it was kind of a need to know basis plus intentionality. So I was leaving the nonprofit. So kind of as I was getting closer to the end, I shared more and more with people, but I never actually had like a coming out post on social media. Mm-hmm. And so it was, I never had anybody who really got mad at me or was like, Justin, we need to sit down and have coffee, and I need to tell you why it's wrong that you're coming out. I'd say most people were pretty.
And why it's wrong that you're drinking coffee?
But, oh, sorry. Oh, shoot.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I think overall people responded for friends and family, they responded relatively well. But I think what was hardest was the silence. Like I could come out to people, but then it was like, do we talk about this? Do we not? I certainly had my fair share of, I would come out to someone and be like, well, do you agree with the Catholic Church as like their first response, and kind of having to then wade through, this isn't what I want to talk about right now. Like this doesn't matter, because I was like, I don't know. I kind of don't know what I want to believe. And I don't want to actually invite you into this whole mess of my theology that is right now. I just want you to know more about who I am and why I don't want you to set me up with your friend, because I'm not going to date women, I did lose a couple friends through it. The worst, honestly, was priests that I came out to, because they were the first people that I reached out to talk to, because again, I was like, I need wisdom. I need guidance. These are people I really trust, many of whom they'd known me for years. And it really was coming from this place of, I don't need you to, like, of course I want you to tell me, yeah, it's fine. You can go date men and everything's, that's of course what I wanted. I knew they weren't going to say that, but I just needed some help understanding, like, why was I experiencing the sense of peace? Like, why did I feel God's presence with this idea of coming out, with the idea of dating, and just kind of wanting to navigate the process of coming to terms with the fact that I was gay, this wasn't going to change, and grieving the loss of the life I thought I was going to live, marrying a woman and having that great straight life. And so that was the worst. I had a priest tell me, kind of threaten me with my job. I had a priest who was just like, "Oh, you just don't understand the church's teachings enough. We just know you need to go over them again." And I was like,
Yeah, I've been over it.
like, yeah. So
When you say that you felt God's presence with you as you were like thinking about coming out, like being more true to yourself, how could you tell?
like the memory that was kind of like the best and the worst part was I had been talking to this guy for a couple months, and I was trying to convince him why he shouldn't date men. This was the guy who was out and was kind of breaking my stereotypes. And so he came out and visited Denver, and we spent the weekend together. And I just remember we were driving through the mountains in the evening, like driving back to Denver, like the sun is setting and I'm holding his hand and we're just talking. And it was that sense of feeling integrated, like this sense of like I wasn't hiding anymore, because I could just talk, like we were both Catholic. I could nerd out about Catholic stuff. I could share just anything that was on my mind with him. Like there was just a genuine friendship that existed, but there wasn't this fear of, well, I don't have to prove that I'm straight enough. I don't have to be worried if he thinks that I like him, because we already know we like each other. And so just a lot of those barriers that I had that kept me just in knots and questioning, how am I showing up? What am I saying? Just weren't there. And so it was like just getting to be myself, and then kind of like the mask was gone. Yeah. I was like, this.
Charlie wrote a book called Without the Mask.
Oh my God! Oh, that's over there. It was in my mind.
It's like
You basically sound like a co-author.
There we go. But yeah, it was like, oh my gosh, like this, and it was honestly like a level of peace that I'd only experienced like in like deep moments of prayer otherwise. Yeah. And I couldn't. I was like, I have to sit with this. I have to dive into this more. I'm not about to just walk away from everything and say this is all wrong, but I was like, I have to sit with this, because this is what I've been searching for, and I'm not finding it with a bunch of straight men. I'm finding it with a gay guy.
I have a question about something you said a few minutes ago, where you said you would like come out to people, but you didn't want to like shake their theological views or whatever. You said something like that.
Go on.
Okay. I'm curious, because sometimes like when I come out to people, I want to be like, I have been wrestling with this, and I want you to wrestle with it too.
Oh, okay. So you're just saying, oh,
that's pride, and that's one of the 7 deadly sins.
Is it?
Is it actually?
It is one of the 7
We
deadly
don't really
sins.
talk about the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah, we don't do them, but we don't talk about them either.
Gosh, I think, I don't know. I think that so often, like when I come out to people now, I very much, and that is because I do still have to do that, even though I'm on social media. Like there is a reality that like I have a niche audience. There's plenty of people I know that still don't know that I'm out. Right. And it is funny catching up with when people text me out of the blue, like, "Hey, do you want to catch up?" I'm like, "Did you see a video, or did you like, or do you actually like, are you here to call me out?
How much catch up are we
right,
here to do?"
Right. And so I think when I say like when I come out to people now, I'm not interested in debating them. Like if somebody starts questioning my theology and wanting to try and convince me otherwise, I'm like, we're not going to convince each other. It's not going to be helpful. I'm just going to get angry. You're going to get angry. Mm-hmm. But if somebody is coming at me and they're genuinely curious, they're like, tell me about your story. Like what's going on? Like how did you get to this point? That's when I'll engage in conversation with people. And I think now I try to kind of be gentle when I come out to people, but there was definitely a time when I was getting tired of like sitting down with people for coffee and be like, hey, there's this thing about my life I want to tell you. Mm-hmm. And there were definitely a couple friends people that I knew. Like one of them was actually a roommate. He was just like walking through the kitchen, and I was like talking with another roommate, and like, oh yeah, so I went on a date with like Steve or whoever. To make it organic. And he just like my roommate like did this double take. I'm like, what? I didn't know you were gay. And I was like, yeah, deal with it, And it was like, so
that was the perfect opportunity for him to say Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
I know. Nobody has said that to me to my face, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, they say it behind your back.
Yes, they do. Yeah, or in the comments. Yeah.
When you were sharing that story of like passing through the mountains and just feeling peace, it reminded me of Galatians 5, like the fruits of the Spirit. And just like peace, long suffering, just like an elevated space to where you had been. I thought that was really beautiful. And I connect with that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk to us about what you do now online. That's how I know about you. I saw your Instagram videos, and they're very good. Just tell us how that came to be.
Yeah. So before I came out, when I was still working as a missionary, I think so much of it came from my own experience of like, well, I feel like I'm finding healing and peace with my own sexuality, and I want to share that with other people. And also even my first year as a Catholic missionary at the University of Wisconsin, knowing the divide that existed, knowing the hurt that LGBT people felt from the church. And so I went into the Wisconsin LGBT Student Center and sat down with the dean of students there and was like, hey, I'm a missionary. I'm not here to like troll or anything. I just want to actually be here if somebody wants to talk, which was absolutely terrifying on so many levels.
So brave.
I know it was. And I said some bad things to people in terms of like quasi conversion therapy things. I've since reached out and like apologized to those people. Thank God, like they're all out now. Everybody that I talked to is now out, and I think most of them in relation to like, thank you, Jesus. But it was still this pull of, I want to reach out to this community. I want to do something. And so as I was coming out and had such a bad experience, and like, I know what the Catholic Church teaches about the importance of treating this community with respect and sensitivity and compassion. I was like, y'all aren't doing that. Like, you are not treating me the way that the church says I should be treated.
Another look from Charlie.
I'm actually secretly Mormon, and I'm just. And so
we actually prefer member of the Church
Sorry,
of Jesus
darn
Christ.
it.
You kind of gave it away.
Like, I know that too. I know that. Okay. So I, like, very early on was writing stuff and like dreaming of doing some sort of small group night with Catholics that I knew, to just be like, this is my story. This is what the church teaches. This is how you can do better. And I was like, I'm too angry. I'm still too angry. And so a couple of years would go by, I'd revisit it, do some more writing, and like, I'm still too angry. I can't do this. And then for a while I was like, I'm just not even Catholic anymore. Why would I waste my time on a church that I'm not even a part of? And it's really hard to say what exactly brought me back, but just kind of slowly felt this pull back to Catholicism. And then this kind of desire to do this type of event happened again, until about a year and a half ago. I was like, we're doing it. So I reached out to a bunch of friends, and about 30 people came over to my house, and it was like part talk, part small group, some LGBT people, a lot of Catholics, and just sharing experiences, sharing thoughts. And it was really good. People really enjoyed the night. And I was like, this is it. We're starting something. We're going to have great conversations after this. And at the end, like, tried following up with a bunch of people, and it was just kind of like crickets. And I was mad. I was like, I put all this work into it. I've been literally working on this for years. I'm not going to let it die now. So I was like, well, I can write. I can start writing. So I started writing different pieces, putting it on social media. And then somebody was like, hey, you should create some reels, make it easier for people to get to your content. So then I started making reels, and a couple of them got a bunch of views, and here we are.
You were just on Good Morning America.
I had a little cameo on Good Morning America,
so
which was fun. Yeah. So Father, actually Gio, oh my gosh, I'm so terrible. I'm blanking on his last name, but one of the hosts of Good Morning America wanted to do like a positive piece for Pride Month. And he himself is Catholic and gay, and just kind of wanted to talk about the shifting views of Catholics in the United States. And he had Father Jim Martin on, who's a priest who's very much an advocate for just treating LGBT people with respect. So he interviewed him and then pulled a clip from one of my videos. It's crazy. Yeah.
So what's your handle?
At Empty Chairs Home. All one word.
And how'd you come up with the term empty chairs? Like, why that?
Yeah. So I remember like sitting in a church one day and seeing all the empty pews and thinking like, people are supposed to be here. And like, when I left the church for that time, it wasn't because I like felt kicked out necessarily. It was like, there just isn't room for me anymore. Like, you say you don't, people kind of say you don't want me here. I don't feel like I belong. And so thinking through, like, people aren't in Catholic churches because they've been told they don't belong. They feel they don't belong. And just the people that have taken their lives because of the horrible things that people have said, some of those being Catholics. And so wanting to claim the fact that there is already a seat for LGBT people in our churches, that does exist. And so it's not even trying to create a space, like a new space. It's like reclaiming the space that we already have in our church.
Have you found that there's like a market for that? There's other people like you who want that?
Mm-hmm. I started Empty Chairs as an attempt to reach out to like straight Catholics or people who wanted to be more allies and supportive, even if they didn't agree with like same-sex marriage. Just how do we, looking at church teaching, actually love this community well? And then all of these LGBT Catholics started coming out of the woodwork. It's like, where'd you come from? Like, I did not know there were this many people. So it really, I was almost like, I would, in some senses, my audience now is not my original target audience, which is I'm totally fine with it. But yeah.
Justin, I felt like so enthralled with what you just said. I just felt like so honest and wholesome and powerful. And this idea that, like, when you said there's already space for us, and even the name of your like your handle, Empty Chairs Home. There's a saying that's common in Latter-day Saint families, which is no empty chairs. Like, we all want to make it to heaven. Like, we don't want any empty chairs.
I love that.
And
oh my gosh.
And so when I've told people about your site, I often call it no empty chairs because that's
fine.
The first time he was like, check out this no empty chairs. And I was like, I don't see, like, this isn't here.
Yeah. So even that parallel is fascinating. Yeah. But this reality that there are so many people who want to connect that just haven't found each other yet. You know, our good friend Allison Dayton, she's a mom of a gay kid, and she has a gay brother, and she just started posting. She started an account called Lift in Love. She just want to post inspirational quotes for moms, and then all these moms were like, "I'm alone. I need, like, let's talk. Let's get together. Let's support." And then, you know, Allison and I and some of our friends got together, and we started this conference that we call Gather, and we've been doing it for 3 years. The first year, 1,300 people came.
Wild.
You know, and so like there's so much that so many people just like want to connect and like need these kinds of spaces.
Hungry for it.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see how, like, the Lord calls people, and just with super small means. Like, it's true, like, through small means great things come to pass. But you're
That's
just
from
like
a Book of Mormon verse.
Yep.
I need to write. You're like, I need to write, and I feel that I was like writing for years, and then I got asked to write my book, and I was like, okay, it's done. You know, like, I'm ready to work on this. And it's just these little ideas that you follow your good ideas, and it creates space for, I don't know. It's just cool to create the resources that we didn't have growing up. And it's so validating and awesome to watch you do this in your faith community.
Yeah. Thank you.
And for too long, I think, like, we see a lot of similarities, but another similarity is that, like, faith in Christ and being LGBTQ are viewed as polar opposites. They're viewed as incompatible. And it's just so sad because we're children of God. Like, they're both inseparable. And it's just really cool to, like, your friend who you met, you're just like, oh, this is different. It's kind of like me. I like it.
Yeah. And I just like, and this might sound so cheesy, but it just, like, to me, it just feels like God trusted you enough to ask you to do something for his children.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, the Lord is working in so many areas of his vineyard to bless everybody, like, to bless his children.
And you'd been prepared for it too.
Yeah.
Like, everything leading up to now was preparing you, even probably stepping away and coming back, and, like, the seminary, and, like, everything that you had done gave you the knowledge and the preparation and the tools to do this unique work. Yeah. It's fascinating.
I remember, like, one of the best pieces of advice I got was from a friend who's actually a director, and is actually putting on a movie, Triumph of the Heart. And it is like, his advice was like, because I was like, should I do it? Should I not? He's like, once you get to a point where you can't not do it, like, that's when you know you have to go. And I think up until a year and a half ago, I could always put it back on the shelf. I could think about doing empty chairs, you know, like, but I was like, I'm like, it's not time. And then it finally just got to a point where it was like, I have to. I've been sitting on this for too long. It's time. So, yeah.
How did you find the community?
What do you mean?
Like what you're building? How are people finding each other?
Like in my,
it's just through social media.
Yeah. So I've got, I do some, like, social, like, some friendship posts every once in a while, but I also have a Discord for people who want to connect more online. But there's also some LGBT affirming parishes, or, like, more neutral parishes.
How does that work?
Yeah, it depends.
I'm so fascinated with that because, like if
affirming is a strong word. Yeah.
If you're in a same-sex relationship, are there, like, membership restrictions or, like, worship restrictions?
Well,
and what does that look like?
It kind of depends on the parish. So church teaching, right? If you're in a same-sex relationship, you can't receive communion. Pretty much you can't receive any of the sacraments. So you can obviously go to a Sunday service, but you couldn't receive communion. If you have kids, your kids could be baptized in the church, but sometimes there's a little bit of tension there.
There's like a little baptized. I'm just kidding.
Well, and is the priest who does the baptizing, right?
Mm-hmm, correct.
Because and for us, like usually like fathers are typically the ones who baptize their children. So that's like a little bit different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and more so it's like involvement in the parish. So if you're in a same-sex relationship, like you probably couldn't be in any sort of leadership or any sort of, honestly, like even like a choir director position has a lot of contention sometimes. But I know a lot of LGBT people who just kind of try to fly under the radar. Maybe they're Catholic, but their partner isn't. And so they can just not be as open about it.
So they can show up. Because are there like membership records?
There are.
Do they
so
like
you could join a
track you
parish
at all?
but not like I can't. Oh gosh, I've never registered at a parish.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think for us, when you get blessed as a baby, it like creates your membership record, and
Yeah.
like we all have like a number, and there's like you can like log in
Yeah.
to the church. But then like individual wards, which would be like a parish, it's there's not like paid clergy, so everyone just kind of volunteers and gets callings, and it like intersperses. So when you move into a ward, your records get transferred over, and they like know who you are.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's a little bit of more like anonymity that can exist.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like the Catholic service is a little bit more individual than community based.
Yes, 100%.
Because our services are incredibly community based.
Yeah.
Like, and even like taking like communion, you walk up and take the communion, right? And not everyone does it always.
Correct.
So for us, they like pass it out, and so like not taking the sacrament feels like everyone can see you like deny. It's very odd.
Yeah.
But some of what you're saying is similar to and that like different like local leadership will determine the membership privilege a gay couple can have. And some hold callings and some don't, and it's just kind of like there's not really a uniform policy, and it can create for a lot of like tension or weird feelings among LGBTQ members of the church, because like what you know.
Yeah.
So do you have a thought? You have a judgment?
No. Great.
I think because there's a lot of individuality in it, there's the reality that, you know, unless the priest is really knows you, like you determine, like you're the one who determines, okay, am I worthy to receive communion or not? So like, I don't really know anybody who's like been denied communion who goes up. You know, kind of the same thing if you want to be involved at all. It is a little bit of, well, you're at risk if somebody finds out and there's a scandal and you get kicked out and stuff. But.
So it's, I mean, I don't want to like assume, but it does sound a little less structured compared to what we're used to.
Based on what I'm hearing and my understanding, yeah.
And that would make sense that like some parishes are a little bit more progressive.
Yeah. Like I'll be honest, I church hop. Like there's a couple different Catholic churches that I go between, and I know people at pretty much all of them, but it's not like.
Is there any threat of
anything.
excommunication ever?
No, not in modern Catholicism. Like there's some politicians who people are like, oh, so and so should have been excommunicated because they're living contrary to the church, and you know, and they've never.
But like showing up to church with your spouse wouldn't like trigger anything.
No. I think from my understanding, like excommunication is a really big, like it's like a lengthy process in Catholicism. I'm not saying it's like flippant in your church, but it's very, very uncommon.
And when you go to church, when you do this parish hopping,
you
know, what are you hoping to get from those experiences? Like what keeps you going?
Yeah, I think that it's, you know, I had a thought the other day that like Catholicism is kind of like Starbucks, right? Like it's familiar. No matter where you go, it's always the same, you know? And I don't.
We don't get it.
Dang it.
Oh, it's like In-N-Out.
It's like McDonald's. It's like In-N-Out. Yeah, McDonald's. Only. Dang it. Oh my God. It's horrible analogy. Cut that out.
I love it.
You know, but it's the same everywhere you go. And there is obviously a comfort in that. But I think I really enjoy, as someone who still goes to a non-denominational service and a Catholic service, not every weekend, but I go back and forth still. And I just love the amount of like ritual that's there, the liturgy. just the reverence that exists. I think there's a lot more time just for prayer throughout the service that I really enjoy. And I think it's just very homey, right?
It's your spiritual home.
Spiritual home, absolutely. And I think that there's a couple different, I'm going to go Catholic nerd for a second.
Please.
There's like kind of two forms of the Catholic Mass. So there was a big essentially conference gathering of bishops in the late 60s, 70s.
Vatican II.
Called Vatican II. Yep.
Is this the Nicene Creed?
No.
That's funny.
And so before then, you had the priest facing away. Everything is in Latin, like everything's super ornate. Think your super high liturgy vibes. And I've been to
Will
a
you
number.
define liturgy for the listeners?
Oh, sorry. So like any sort of prescribed ritualistic approach to worship.
It's the process.
The process, yeah.
Okay.
And so I've been to a couple of those services, and I do love them because there's such an emphasis on you're not there to respond, you're not there to sing, you're not even there hardly to hear the readings, because even there's less readings in the pre-Vatican II Mass. You were there to pray and to worship God and like receive communion, and that's it. And so I love kind of bringing that mindset into the Mass that we have now, which is much more call and response, Catholic calisthenics with the, standing, sitting, kneeling. But bringing that idea of like, I'm there to pray, I'm there to be with God, I'm there to worship, kind of no matter what. So that it's no matter if the sermon, the homily is bad, or I don't like it, or they say so, like I'm not there for that. I'm there to be with God.
The first time I went to a Mass, it was in Latin, and I didn't have a program. And so like all of a sudden everyone would stand up and I'm like, oh my God. And then they like sit down and I go, and I was always late and I was like, I don't know what's happening. It's very fun.
I would be with you. Actually I do know a little bit of Latin, but I would still be with you if I went to a Latin Mass because it's its own thing.
Yeah, it was hard, but it was fun.
Mm-hmm. As you were talking about just feeling like home.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 27, I moved to Portugal for the summer. I didn't know anyone in Portugal. I barely spoke Portuguese, and I went to church, and people were like so kind to me. I did my best to chat with them, and then when I left, I just cried. I was like, I have people here, like people who already care about me. And there's something powerful in that. And for you, it's not just like people and familiarity, but this ritual that really matters to you too. And, I know a lot of LGBTQ Latter-day Saints who, they love the ritual, they love the hymns, they love going to the building and who just want to be able to do that same kind of thing too.
Have there been changes, or better question, what changes have there been, like doctrinally or theologically, like liturgy wise? Does that word work that way? Like
liturgically.
Liturgically.
Great.
Like what's it like top down?
Oh, how long of an answer do you want?
Whatever feels. I mean, I know that last
Yeah.
year Pope Francis allowed same-sex blessings.
Yeah.
And
What is the blessing of same-sex couples? What does that mean?
Yeah. Oh, sure. So he made a very clear distinction that it's not a blessing, and it does feel like semantics, but theologically it's different. So it's allowing he's not blessing the same-sex union. It's a blessing of the individuals who are in a union. And I think that is, and I think he had a great mindset and justification for it, because it's just like anybody should be able to receive a blessing.
What did that mean for you? It sounds like it was complicated.
I don't know. I think honestly at the time I still felt really removed from the church in a lot of ways, where I was coming back, but it was almost still like figuring out like how do I belong? I know what I believe, I know what I love about Catholicism, but how do I actually fit into this community? And so I remember hearing that, and I think the hardest thing was just knowing the amount of pushback that would happen, knowing the things that people would say because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Can
it
you
almost
push back against the Pope?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like normal for people to like disagree with the Pope and express.
Not recently. So there was actually a ton of disagreement with Pope Francis. He put out a document. This several years ago, and there's a formal process of questioning the Pope that actually several bishops in the United States went through. Say we have significant doubt in what you have said here. You need to provide clarification.
Whoa.
And that has not happened, as far as I know. I don't think that has happened in any of the recent Pope.
Interesting. So on our side, that's like a total no-go.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a process for that in the Doctrine and Covenants.
Yeah, but I'm saying like a normal member of the church isn't like critiquing or like
Yeah.
criticizing church
Yeah.
leaders.
Yeah.
That's like very not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
very interesting for
Yeah.
me here.
And I think part of it too is actually maybe what's been most meaningful is there are a couple dioceses over in Europe, and I mean it's just a couple that have have allowed a ritualized blessing of same-sex couples. So one of the things that the document for Pope Francis allowing the blessings of people in same-sex unions is you can't do anything ritual. So you can't have anything that resembles any sort of wedding for a same-sex couple. But there's a couple dioceses where the Vatican was like, okay, we can trial something here. So it doesn't take place in a church, but I was just emailing.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it took place in this couple's home, but it was almost like a little mini wedding of, just some, I don't think there was actually exchanging of vows, but it was like some readings and then maybe a little sermon and then just a blessing at the end, like super short.
So when you say a blessing, like what does
Yeah.
that look like?
Yeah. So like typically within a Catholic context, it's going to be fairly scripted. So there's actually a book of blessings when you can like pick whatever you want. There's probably a blessing for it. And so that's just going to be a specific prayer that the priest reads over the individual, the couple, whomever. For Catholics, we can bless objects, which is just still is different from blessing people. But then, the priest will just...
Can you bless animals?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So just like laying hands or just like raising hands over someone, saying the prayer, and then as a Catholic, of course, finishing with the sign of the cross.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that something that you participate in? You ask for blessings?
So there's a blessing at the end of every Mass that would just be part of it, but I'm trying to think. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's super common. What I see commonly are people maybe asking for blessings from new priests, so newly ordained priests. There's like a special blessing their first year as being a priest. There's like theology behind it. Mm-hmm. A lot of people asking for blessings of their homes. Some people ask blessings of their pets. Different like special days throughout the year. There's like a day of blessing of candles, like blessing bread, and that's a little bit. Again, some parishes have that tradition more so than others. So yeah, honestly, it's not something that I say participate in a bunch, but yeah.
It was interesting because like for me, when that policy changed, obviously I'm not Catholic, but I was like heartened by that. And it was really interesting to like be so, like feel so joyous about that being offered because in a lot of ways, like, I mean, the Catholic Church is a force to be reckoned with and like sets a lot of cultural precedent for other religions too, and just has influence. And I was like, I hope people see this. Yeah. I hope people change their hearts a little bit and don't ostracize the gay couples in their life as much because like the Pope's kind of leading out here.
Yeah. Honestly, what felt, because I didn't feel a particular affinity, like particular closeness to Pope Francis. And I think so much of it was kind of like what I was saying of like, where's my place in the church? And, knowing how much controversy that he caused in some people, but I almost like didn't realize what a gift he was to the church until he passed away. And I remember that I was like, I did a reel on Pope Francis. There's like, thank you for what you did to the church. And it was like the fact that we had lost him, like knowing the tone that he brought to Catholicism and knowing, I was like, oh, like he's just kind of, he's kind of like dusted off the pew for me, like he is the one who said, oh yeah, there's a space here for LGBT people too. And I think that was the moment when almost like everything that he had done finally came, like kind of hit me, because I was like, oh my gosh, it could be anybody moving forward. Like it could be somebody who's super conservative and starts saying really harsh things again. Mm-hmm. And I think that there was no one moment of Pope Francis's life that really hit me. It was looking back and realizing kind of the freedom and the permission that he gave me, and the fact that he made me feel like I was also Catholic and that I also had a place in the church
that's lovely.
Was way more meaningful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think gay Catholics need right now?
Oh my gosh. That's $1 million question.
I'll collect that after this.
Okay. Oh yeah. If only. Like from the church or from
from whomever.
Remember. I think I think that there have been certain movements within Catholicism that have tried to change theology. But I think that anybody who's honest about Catholicism knows that the teaching isn't going to change, that it's just like the Pope can't just say, hey, gay marriage is fine now, And I think there's a growing awareness that like this isn't going to change. Like we can't change it. And so I think for so many Catholics, like LGBT Catholics, we just want to be able to show up and be a part of a community. We just want to be able to go to mass. And I think that they just want to be seen as human, as people who have real lives, that they have really wrestled with this issue. This isn't something they've made a decision flippantly. And that like if we're going to say that your sexuality, your gender identity is not all of who you are, then like why is it dictating
all of how we worship?
Yeah. Yes. Amen. Yeah. Yeah. That's really it. And I think I want LGBT people to know that, and I want Catholics to know that whether or not somebody agrees with the church's teachings on this issue, like they can still know Jesus. They can still have a prayer life. Like they can still grow in their relationship with God. So why are we gatekeeping religion and a life with God because of this one issue? You know,
like putting up barriers for someone to get to know Christ better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of saying let us offer you all that we can,
Mm-hmm.
we're putting up barriers, like you said.
Yeah.
Do you ever get pushback from LGBTQ former Catholics?
A little bit. I think that some people are almost worried for me. If I'm like, oh, are you super, you still have like internalized homophobia, and like, almost like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you defending this church that's so terrible? And I think it's part because, as you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of that I don't share about my personal life on my account. And, when I really did start this, I was like, I'm not super connected to the Catholic Church. It's almost like I didn't even start doing this for me. I wanted to do this in huge part because of friends who were told, like a gay couple who were close friends with was told that they weren't welcome at a Catholic church, that they should go somewhere else. And I was like, I don't care if I go to mass or not. Like I want my friends who go to mass to be able to go to mass, Yeah. And so I think that because I was returning, I was like, I've already been kicked out. I was returning on my own terms. There isn't that same level of, constraint that's there. Yeah. So I do get some pushback from people, but I think so many times the comments or messages that I receive is like, you don't know my life, you know my story.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Sometimes I'll share with them, sometimes I won't. Just depends on how angry they come across in the messages. Yeah.
Are there any like scripture verses or stories that have like held you or helped you through this process?
Yeah. I think there's like two that come to mind. So the first one is the parable of the talents, and which might seem funny, like an odd one, but I remember I was praying with that as I was trying to figure out what to do. Like, what do I do? Jesus, what do I do with my life? And I'm trying to I don't even know why that one came up, but I was like, am I the one who's like, whatever it is, shoot, how many talents is it? Like the 5, is it the 3, is it the 1, right? And I was like, well, what if I got the 1 talent, but I lost it? Like I really tried. Like whatever you do to make more talents, like I just totally lost it. I didn't even bury it. And so I show up, before God at the end of my life, and I'm like, well, I really tried, but I messed up. Like, how would God respond to that? And just feeling like, hearing God say, that's all I wanted. Like, that's why I got mad at the guy who just buried it, because he didn't trust that I trusted him. Like the giving of the gold pieces is a sign like, I trust you with the gift of your life, and I want you to give me that gift back, however you see fit. And so that kind of became my home base of like, what is the life that I want to give back to God? Mm-hmm. Like, what is the best life that I can imagine giving back to God? And like, once I kind of put it in that context, I was like, oh, this actually isn't about me doing whatever I want. This isn't about just me following my desires. This is still so grounded in understanding who I am, what are the gifts I've been given, and how do I use those to the best of my ability.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
You said there were 2?
Oh yeah. And then the other one that was, I was like, shoot, I should have said that one first, because that was this one first.
That was a good one.
That was really good.
That was really good.
But yeah, the other one was just the blind man Bartimaeus. I just have always loved that story because, it starts off, he's on the side of the road and he's calling out like absolutely crazy. And everyone's like, shut up. Jesus doesn't want to talk to you. And I wish I could know the long story, because we get just a couple versions.
Right.
Like, what's the long version? So he's calling out. Everyone's like, stop talking. Jesus doesn't want to talk to you. And then Jesus goes, what's going on? They're like, okay, call him over. And then it seems like the same people are like, oh, get up now. He wants to talk to you. And I'm like, was it the same people? Was it not? And so kind of feeling I'm in that spot of like calling out to Jesus and kind of feeling like I'm far away. And then imagining being brought to him and like making my way through the crowd. And then hearing those words of Jesus to me of like, Justin, what do you want me to do for you? And I think for so long being like, well, I want to be straight. And I think even now, like sitting with that question of just that tenderness of Jesus to want to know, like, what are the desires of my heart? Like, what is it that he's not here to just dictate my life. He's not here to tell me this is what you're supposed to do. This is who you're supposed to be. Like, it is this invitation. I was like, no, I want to hear from you. I want to understand you more. I want the gift of, even though I know everything, I want to hear what you need, what you want from you. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
That's really beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What is your relationship with God like now? Like, what does that look like? What does that mean to you in your day-to-day life?
Yeah. Do you talk about deconstructing at all?
Yes.
Okay. I was like,
You're good.
With all the terminology I've messed up today. It's like, I get one thing right.
It's like when you get a latte.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Same thing.
I don't know what a latte is.
Oh my gosh.
Is it like a cold coffee?
No, well, you can have an iced latte.
Okay. I really don't know.
Is that when they mix it with hot chocolate?
No, that's like kind of like a mocha.
What's a mocha latte?
You don't have a mocha?
Is latte milk?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's coffee and steamed milk.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it now.
Carry on.
I just had to get to the linguistics of it.
Okay. So
Leche.
oh my gosh. Okay, I'll be honest. There's part of me that's like, all right, I'm not going to bring this up and then like coffee or something like that.
You're fine.
I'm going to be smart enough. No, whatever.
What's a liturgy?
I know. So, wait, what were we saying? Deconstruction. Yeah. Deconstruction. Okay. So, going through deconstruction and like, I used to pray an hour a day. Like that was like standard.
A whole hour?
A whole hour.
Did you not?
Every day?
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever prayed for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm like a prayer in my heart. I don't know.
Yeah. Like if anybody questions if I'm a hardcore Catholic, I was a hardcore Catholic. And so much of that was just focused on me talking about the fact that I was gay with
Right.
Jesus. And so having to be like, oh, that's not the center of my prayer life. I think there was a while where I was like, what do I do with prayer now? Like, why do I pray to God? All of those questions started coming up. And so I think now it's still weird. Like when I talk to my spirit, like I found a spiritual director a year ago. Sorry, do I need to translate that?
Actually, yes.
Like a mentor. Sorry. I was like, I caught it this time. Okay. So like a spiritual director is essentially like a mentor in the faith. So
is it like an official thing? Or is it just like I vibe with this person? They're my mentor.
It can be both. A lot of people will go through a particular training for it. It's not counseling, it's not pastoral counseling. It's just somebody who has an understanding of spirituality, like a strong, relationship with God themselves, and just want to help other people understand this is where God is present in my life. How do I draw closer to God? And so I found a spiritual director in part to be like, I need to pray again. Like help me pray. And so part of it has been kind of coming to an understanding of like who is God? That God is this loving Father who is close to me. Like Jesus is my favorite, you know. For some reason, I don't really love the phrase like Jesus is my brother, even though I know there's like a theological correctness to it. But if there's like a person that I'm most drawn to, then it's 100% Jesus. And so I think that now it's so much of my spiritual life before was I need to go to God to kind of have permission of every single thing that I'm doing, every decision that I'm making. And now it's far more, okay, I know that God trusts me, and I'm going to turn to God in moments that are important to try to understand where is God leading me, where am I supposed to go. But I would say I still love my quiet time, whether that's reading with the Bible or journaling or whatever. It's not an hour a day. It's a lot less consistent. Sometimes it's going to a church. Sometimes it's going up the mountain. Sometimes it's just on my couch in my home. But I think that it feels like a relationship that is far more based on trust than waiting and believing that if any moment I'm going to be cut off if I do the right thing. Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a lot less transactional.
Yeah.
And more relational.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
If anyone is listening to this who knows you, what would you want them to know?
Are they going to listen?
Who knows?
What are they thinking right now?
I don't know. There's a lot of people. I don't know. That's kind of like the fun thing of being a missionary. I got to meet a lot of amazing people. I think so many people are afraid when they hear friend, loved one, whoever come out, that they think they're going to become a totally different person. And I think that I don't genuinely know anyone where that has happened. I think that it's people come out and they finally get to share more of who they are. So it's almost like maybe it seems like they change, but it's like you were only getting half of that person to begin with, and now you're finally getting to see all of who they are. And I think just I don't know. This is more for people who are like in the process of like knowing that if you're in the process of coming out, it's okay to figure things out and like try things out, and it's like you're having to go back through high school again in your mid-20s or 30s or whatever it is. But yeah, I think that, I don't know.
That's lovely. Mm-hmm. It really is. And I also think like I relate to that a lot. And I think when I was only being half of who I am, I only understood half of who God was. And I think I could only feel half of that love. Yeah. But as I opened my full self and was just like super vulnerable, like, hey, this is who I am. Yeah. Is that okay? He was like, yeah, I created you.
Yeah.
Like, thank you. Like, thank you for showing up. And then it becomes so much less like structured and rules and strict. And it's more of like this freedom, this agency, this like collaboration with my creator. And it's just been so lovely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Justin, I am so impressed with who you are. I'm impressed by your faith and your knowledge and your bravery and how you have just, you found a need and you fulfilled it. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thanks for flying here.
Like absolutely.
You literally flew in for this. It's like, you're so generous and it's helped me grow.
Oh yeah. Thank you. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, a real honor, and honestly, I've been inspired today. So just thank you for sharing your story and your faith and what you're doing. I'm inspired.
Thank you.
Remind everyone where they can follow you.
Social media at Empty Chairs Home, and then my website is empty-chairs.org.
Cool. We'll link it in the show notes.